What's going on, car family? I'm Ben Wayne, and thank you for joining me in another video. Today we are checking out the 2024 Chevy Blazer EV RS all-wheel drive. So this is an all-new variant of the Blazer. This isn't the gas-powered, this is full electric. So this is the all-wheel drive model as opposed to the rear-wheel drive model. So on the all-wheel drive model, you're looking at about 279 miles of range as opposed to the 324 miles of range of the rear wheel drive. I'm just going to go ahead and get that out the way because I know there are going to be questions about this. So this is a dual motor setup. We have one in the front and one in the rear. Now the motor in the rear is going to reduce the battery size when compared to the rear wheel drive model. So in this model, you're getting an 87.5 kilowatt hour battery, which explains why you're getting the shorter range. The rear wheel drive model has a larger battery, which is going to give you that 324 mile number. Now, in terms of your power output, what we're looking at in this model is around 288 horsepower and 333 pound-feet of torque. Now, your 0 to 60 time is going to be swift, like in a typical EV. We're looking at about 5.9 seconds here, right? So if you're looking for an electric EV, this might be one to consider. Now, as shown, these press vehicles, they usually come loaded up and they're not the basic trim. So this one's about $60,000 as shown. So let's go ahead and talk about the exterior details, the aesthetics, the appearance. From the outside, this thing, it looks smooth. I like the elegance of the design here, right? So the lines are smooth and subtle. They're not too sharp. Starting at the front, of course, we have LED everything. We have LED daytime running lamps. Headlamps, high beam and low beam, of course, are LED. There are no fog lamps, and you do have this light bar going across the front of the vehicle, which looks pretty cool. I will say that does look amazing. Now, of course, we have the faux grille thing going because this is an EV. If it didn't have one, it wouldn't look right. It would look kind of strange. So we do have a dark black plastic grille, and there are some functional vents up front as well. Now, underneath the hood, I'm sad to report that there isn't a frunk in this vehicle whatsoever. I opened up the hood and found what is probably the largest panel that I've seen while reviewing vehicles. So unfortunately, there's no storage up front there, but you do get traditional storage in the back. So the side profile. When I look at the side profile of this vehicle, it kind of reminds me of a wagon with its sleek roofline. So it kind of has a sporty edge to it. And then pairing that with the large wheels on this model, this one has 21-inch wheels with kind of like an aerodynamic design. It's really captivating from the side. Now, we also have blacked out wheel arches and gloss black side view mirrors along with gloss black window surrounds, giving it that sporty edge and definition. So it's a pretty cool looking vehicle from the side profile if you ask me. Now, in terms of size, on this Blazer EV, you're looking at about 121.8-inch wheelbase. I believe that's roughly 9 inches longer than the standard gas-powered Blazer. And, that's partly because to get that large battery pack in the car, right? The battery pack is going to sit, you know, on the lower body structure. So that's probably going to give you more space, that additional wheelbase. But it also translates into a really smooth ride because it, lowers the vehicle's CG relatively, to this vehicle's weight. Of course, this is heavier than the standard Blazer, but I just wanted to make mention of that. And the benefits of that also increase the legroom found in the rear. So that's just something to look at. Now, speaking of the rear, one thing I noticed about the rear is that we do have this tiny wiper blade that kind of, takes over a little bit of that clean aesthetic that they were going for. It doesn't look bad, but I do wish they kind of hid that a little bit. You do have full LED rear tail lamps and then, a gloss black lower bumper. I do love the gloss black accents on this vehicle. I think it looks extremely nice. Opening up that rear hatch, you're getting, what's typical of a mid-sized SUV in terms of storage. Nothing surprising here. We're looking at 30 cubic feet with the second row up. If you want to increase that storage capability, drop that second row. That's going to double it. You're getting 60 cubic feet of storage. So it's very practical and usable. And when you drop that second row, it's almost completely level, which is also a nice touch in terms of storage capability. Now, the interior. This is a futuristic piece of kit in the interior. So what we have is like roughly an 11.1-inch display for your instrument cluster, right? That's very clear, easy to read, gives you all the information that you would want, battery life, whatnot, and so forth. Now, coming over here, we have a 17.7-inch display for your infotainment system. That is huge, right? There was a time in the 90s where people were buying 17-inch TVs or computer monitors, and now we have them in cars. Now, this touchscreen is extremely responsive. Um, I'm impressed with that. Just lightning quick response there. Now, I did notice there isn't any wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and the reason for that is because GM thought that they could do, their own system just as good as Apple CarPlay, so they want you to use this, right? So it is pretty nice. You have Alexa built in, Google, all that stuff built in into this screen. It's very nice, convenient, and easy to use. You also have an app store where you can download, Waze and other apps that you would typically use. Now it looks like it is based off of, the Apple CarPlay setup, so the user will not have a hard time, being able to navigate this, right? So there's plenty of settings here, and it's fairly easy to navigate. Now, on the lower portion of the touchscreen, you do have a lot of controls for your air conditioning system, but you also have physical buttons for your air conditioning system as well, right? Coming lower, we do have 3 air conditioning vents. I love the red accents throughout this vehicle. Just like on the dash, we do have some soft touch materials, some faux carbon fiber, and then again, contrast stitching to pick up on the red theme of this vehicle. So the air conditioning vents are surrounded by red. You have stitching, that ties into the seats. The seats, we're looking at 8-way power adjustable for the driver's seat and 6-way power adjustable for the passenger seat. 3 levels of heating, 3 levels of cooling. They are fairly comfortable. I will say I do wish they had a little bit more side bolstering, because on sharp turns I did notice that I'm sliding around a little bit in this vehicle. So, not to nitpick, but I do wish it did have just a little bit more side bolstering. I'm not saying you're going to go crazy on the turns in this vehicle, but it would just be nice to, be able to have confidence in the seats keeping you planted, right? Other than that, the seats are extremely comfortable. We do have 2 cup holders, 2 USB ports up here, plenty of storage in the center console, of course, as you would expect in a vehicle of this caliber. Now, if you look at the back seats, they do have the same thing going on as the front in terms of the finish. GM refers to this as an Evo-Tex material, right? So it's not leather, but it's something referred to as Evotex, probably something eco-friendly or whatever. But the red accents and theme is carried on through the back doors and the rear seats as well. And of course, you do have vents back there and 2 USB ports. The only ding on the interior is I wish it had, you know, that sunroof. Steering wheel feels great in my hands. It's nice and thick. I believe the different models in this range do have different steering wheels. So this one is specific to the RS. It's nice and thick, red contrast stitching. Of course, the steering wheel is heated. Now, there is an SS model that gives you 600 horsepower and gives you 0 to 60 times in the fours if you just want to go fully ballistic on this thing. So if this isn't enough, there is another variant that they got out for you that's probably a little bit more fun. Hopefully I get to test that at some point, but right now we're just checking out the RS all-wheel drive. We have a head-up display system in this vehicle as well, so the tech is there. Of course, you got the blind spot monitoring system, a 360-degree camera system as well. The camera is sharp and clear. You can see the cracks in the road and the paint markings. It's a very sharp and nice camera system. I love when a new car comes out and they put the sharpest camera system they can find. There's nothing worse than seeing a new car and there's a camera system in there that's at least 10 years old looking at you, Nissan. All right, so I love the camera system in this vehicle. It's nice and sharp. You have different options here, overhead and standard. It's pretty cool. Overall, the ride quality is extremely smooth, and the acceleration is brisk, as what you would expect in an EV. Now, I will say I do hear that electronic or that whirring microwave noise that EVs make a little bit more in this vehicle. It's not painfully loud, but it is noticeable. You know, So that's just something to consider. I've had this vehicle for a week and I've actually just gotten used to it. I'm just mentioning it. I'm just going to make mention of it because that's what I'm supposed to do in these videos. So let me know what you guys think about this one. I think the looks are quite sharp. If you're looking for an EV, this is probably one of the more affordable ones out there in terms of what you're getting. There's an 8-year, 100,000-mile warranty on the battery, just in case there are any concerns surrounding that. The batteries in EVs are expensive, and a lot of people who review EVs always seem to conveniently leave that out. So I'm going to tell you, we know the batteries are expensive, but Chevy is backing that with an 8-year, 100,000-mile warranty. So that's going to give you some confidence and, a worry-free ownership experience when it comes to, you know, batteries and battery replacement. All right, so let me go hard on the throttle here. So it gets up and goes. There are different, driving modes, of course. There's a sport driving mode that's going to eat up into your battery a little bit. But overall, this is a great vehicle. It is good. Now, of course, there's a paddle behind the steering wheel to control your regen braking, and there are different settings on the touchscreen to control what type of driving experience you're getting as well. Um, I think that's pretty cool. So they make use of the touchscreen for sure. It just gets There's just a slight learning curve to learning how to navigate that touchscreen. But once you got it, it's pretty quick. And I love the rapid response that this touchscreen provides. So let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments section. This is just a quick overview of the Chevy Blazer EV RS all-wheel drive. It's not a bad car. I like the fact that they threw in a warranty with it. I like the looks. I like the ride quality. The range on the all-wheel drive is a little bit less than ideal. I wish the range was a little bit more, but they had to fit that motor back there towards the rear of the vehicle. If you're into EVs, definitely let me know your thoughts. And until next time, I'm Ben Wayne, the automotive reviewer that YouTube deserves. I'll catch you guys in the next one.